Okay, final step of, I've got my board nice and painted. I left this overnight and you know, it's pretty painted up. It's all dry. So that was, you know, 8 hours. I recommend leaving it for a minimum of kind of 60 to 120 minutes to fully dry your paint before applying the varnish. But yeah, the longer you leave it, the better. It's going to seep into the board. The pens actually dry in 2 minutes. The paint pens, the Surfpaints paint pens can dry in as quick as 2 minutes. But I wouldn't put this over your paint pen at least 60 minutes after it's been dried. I left mine for 8 hours, so I feel comfortable with that. It's not coming off. So now we've got to put this on because this is going to protect this from wear and tear, from throwing in the car, from fingernails, everything that could rip the paint off. Now, if you were painting something like glass window, you probably don't need to use a varnish because you don't need it to protect from friction applied to it. Whereas surfboards get a heavy friction, and like I said in the other video, they can't seep into the glass, so the paint's on top of the surface. So in order to trap, this spray paint is going to set over the top of the painted project, and then once it dries, it creates this barrier that I can't get to the paint underneath, and that makes it permanent for non-porous surfaces like this surfboard. So when we find a spray, you go to your local hardware or art store for now. Surfpaints will hopefully sell it, but because of the flammable item, it's very difficult for us to ship worldwide, or in Australia at least. So we're working on this. So for now, you need to use keywords acrylic, and it needs to be fast drying. Now, fast drying is usually anywhere under an hour. That's a fast drying spray. Any quicker than an hour is better, but this one I've tested before. It's really good. I use keywords, acrylic, and then I look at the drying time anywhere under an hour. So I got this from Bunnings and I've used it before. We're going to shake it up for at least 30 seconds. Just make sure the paint's evenly, because that's what the ball does. It shakes it. It makes there's no like little blobs or anything like that. Because if there's any blobs, that's when you're going to have inconsistent paint. Now, always spray in an outdoor environment. This is outdoorsy enough. It's got enough airflow. Do like a quick test spray. Yep, that's coming out evenly. Wear a mask. So I've got a just like a COVID mask on, you know, just something to protect you from inhaling it. That's going to further protect you. So the aim here is to apply 3 coats, right? First coat's going to be nice and light, nothing crazy, and I'm going to come from one angle. The second coat's going to be nice and light, and I'm going to come from another angle, and then the third coat's going to be a nice heavier coat. That's all you need to do. Now, always allow at least kind of 5 minutes in between each coat. I know I said 60 minutes for it to fully dry, but that's okay when you're spray painting a board to actually just apply light coats and not wait the full 60 minutes, because you'll be there forever. But when you finally finish the last coat, that's when you should wait definitely 60 minutes, but I would wait 8 hours if you can. But we'll take you through it so it's not so confusing. So hopefully my camera's got it good. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decide what angle to come from. So I'm going to probably spray that angle, and then on the way back I'll come from a different angle. So we're simply just nice and light like this. That's fine. Nice and light. Just going over the board like this. Very light, swooshing motion, about probably 10 to 15 centimeters away. That's good. Now, also, I already got that bit, but do the rails as well. A lot of people miss the rails. So just hold it and walk along the rails. Good. Sweet. So it's been about 5 minutes. And it's all dry. You can test with your fingers to make sure that it's already dry. And if it's not wet on your finger, you can do the second coat. So second coat, same thing, but I'm coming from a different angle. And going from a different angle is going to give you more coverage of the varnish, because it's very easy to miss spots. But if you come from all angles, you just increase your chances of getting everything. So this is the second one. We're just going nice and light. Same kind of thing, swooshing motion, just over the top of the board, 10 to 15 centimeters, very light coat. You don't want any pools of spray paint, because what we're doing is just creating that kind of base layer, and then the last layer we can go a little bit heavier. But yeah, so always come back to the rails, same thing. Make sure you do the rails, because the rails, they get a lot of wear and tear from duck dives and throwing in cars, and that's where you hold them, so it's important. So boom. That's 2 layers looking really good. So we're going to wait another 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'm going to touch it with my finger, and if it's dry, I'm going to do the third coat. Okay, final coat. Touch the board, nice and dry, not wet. Everywhere is covered. So that was about 10 minutes that one took. I waited. So it's had 2 light coats. Now we're going to apply one more coat, and that should make your board perfectly permanent. So yeah, you should be able to surf that, and the paint should last forever, unless you apply maybe very heavy friction, or you need to remove with acetone or something like that. But yeah, we're going to do this side, and then I'll do the other side off camera, and then your board's ready to varnish. So for the last coat, the first 2 we went real quick, and we came from that angle, and then we came from that angle. So the third coat doesn't really matter what angle you want to choose, because there's not many more angles you can go from. So I'm just going to kind of stand over the top of it really, and yeah, probably walk to, I don't know, we'll work it out. But yeah, the last coat, I'm just going to hold the nozzle down and keep it in the same area just that little bit longer. That's what I mean by heavier. Like light, I went quite quick, and soft, and I was up 10-15 centimeters. The third coat's just going to be that little bit longer in the same area. So you'll see. Right now we'll start on the tail, so just giving it a little bit more, bit slower in the same area. This one I'm kind of going left to right. I think I said swooshing last video, sweeping motion I meant, sorry. Sweeping motion, left, right, same area, just that little bit longer. Now, I missed this area at the start, so I'll just go. Cool. Now, it's quite fumey, so make sure you've got a mask on. Like, even something like that is fine, just a COVID mask, just to protect yourself from inhaling it in. Some people have proper paint masks, that's even better, but definitely needs to be in an outdoor environment, and wearing a mask, like, non-essential. It's quite toxic, this stuff. All right, now I'm gonna do the rails. Oh, hit my head. It's raining in Sydney, so I'm going to bring this in because it's raining, and then there you go. That board has been fully varnished, and once I let that dry, I could probably wait for just 20 minutes, and then I can flip it over and do the same 3 on the bottom, and then this board's pretty much ready to surf today. I'll give it yeah, depending on the conditions, but yeah, letting it dry. Basically you just need to do the test. If your finger is not wet, it's sealed, but I recommend minimum 60 minutes for it to fully dry. If you can leave it overnight for 8 hours, like you're doing everything by the book. But 60 minutes, the paint should be set and dry and fully water resistant. Yeah, the reason I only waited 5 to 10 minutes in between coats, because it was dry enough for me to apply another coat over it, and it wasn't going to go in the water or anything like that. But if you're going to go in the water and use it with the outside elements, definitely give it the full 60 minutes to dry. I hope this makes sense, and if you want any more tips or tricks or instructions, please let us know. Yeah, so the varnish can, this one's a Duro Dulux Max. I chose gloss. You can choose matte or semi-gloss. So matte's more of a flat finish, gloss brings out the colors. I like gloss, unless I was going for a more kind of faded, less bright appeal. But gloss tends to bring out the best of Surfpaints pens. See, this is used, like this is a general like use spray can. It's not necessary for surfboards, so don't worry about that. In fact, the best varnishes are automobile varnishes for cars, because cars need the highest grade quality paint. So you might even go into some car stores and find an acrylic gloss clear, but they'll be more expensive than a hardware one. So it depends on what you want. If you want the best, go to an automotive store. They'll have the highest grade acrylic sprays. But if you're happy with just like a hardware arts and craft or slash DIY project one, then you're just looking for keywords acrylic, and drying time is quite quick. But yeah, drop in the comments what some other brands you've used. I'd be interested to know what's out there, whether it's in Australia or America or anywhere else in the world. It's always good to know some cool brands to recommend to customers. But yeah, hopefully we can come out with our own one this year. Otherwise, we'll try to resell some of the best brand ones to go alongside our Surfpaints pens. But yeah, this is crucial for making your surfboard art permanent. So you can, so that's already drying now. So you can basically surf and not worry that your art's going to come off. So yeah, you can see there's some wet patches there. Not sure if you can see that on camera, but that just goes to show this still needs a good 60 minutes to fully dry. But once all the wet patch is gone, I'm going to flip it over, do the same thing. This board will be ready to surf. Cool.